Hello friends, today's topic is HIV infections in 2025. Let's rant.
This is a safe space. So first of all, education and programming and support that was geared towards marginalized communities, Black folks, brown folks, queer folks, trans folks, immigrants, indigenous people, those programs were slashed and they were perceived to be DEI work, when the point of those programs was making sure that we shifted the playing field around education, access to care, and just an overall perception around what these services were for and what they were about. PrEP has been around forever, but the initial PrEP campaigns were for white folks. They were on apps like Grindr. You know, you could see posters for PrEP at parties in New York. You even look at how the monkeypox shift that happened, that started with partying white gay men in these large cities, and they were the ones who were getting access to care first. And then when it hit Black communities, that's when money had to shift to make sure that folks could get tested. Most Black folks don't have health insurance. Most Black folks, due to health disparities and the way these systems work, we don't have a culture of engaging in our health outside of it being an emergency. And so dollars, educators, programs, I'm a former sex educator, money sent to federally qualified health centers that, yes, were earmarked for organizations and communities that served Black folks and brown folks. But it wasn't about getting people ahead because we wanted them ahead. It was about we need to get them caught up. It's about getting folks caught up. So that's one. Two, in the last month, the administration has closed down entire offices that address HIV and AIDS. The PASHA board has been shuttered. There is no strategy. There is no plan. In Donald Trump's last administration, the one thing that he did is that he had a plan to eradicate HIV. I think it was in 25 or 30 years. And people clung to that, and he got this second time around, and people thought, well, maybe that'll be one place where he will have some progress. And he, in Atlanta, we lost over $2 million in housing funding for people living with HIV and AIDS alone on March 31st. And he closed down all of these offices with no plan. And you have Robert Kennedy Jr., who wants to make a database around autism, who is talking about the way that health disparities impact people. Yeah, food died, but where's the PrEP? One of my homegirls said she went in for her PrEP appointment and it was traditionally at no cost to her, right? Again, yes, people should be, I want to spend money for my health. We're talking about building a culture of engaging in our healthcare when we, for generations, have been displaced and there's been barriers to us having it and understanding how it's ours and how we own it, right? So she went in there and they were just like, oh, you owe $200. And she was like, girl, I had to leave. Now this is a person who's been on PrEP, going and getting her blood, because you get blood draws and all that stuff costs. But also a person on PrEP is a person who is likely not to acquire HIV, a person who living with HIV or AIDS who is on their medication, and we can support them to the point that their viral load is undetectable. They are not transmitting HIV and AIDS in our communities. Like literally, this is a circle of life that we had figured out. Do y'all know that the COVID vaccine was modeled from the AIDS vaccine? Do you know that due to Trump's behavior, they've closed down the HIV vaccine trials? This isn't equity. This isn't about DI. This is literally people not having common sense. None of this is about politics. None of this is about politics. I can differ with politics. This is foolishness. Who comes into a company and you shut down entire departments? You don't know what the fuck they do. You have no idea about how you're going to revitalize the program and you're closing. You can't tell anybody where the money is going that you took from the program. And you've got a motherfucker who's not even from this land, who's so doggone autistic, there are times he can't thread 5 words together. If Elon Musk was a black man, he wouldn't be able to walk in a room and tell people he was a businessman, because of the assumptions and the beliefs we have around autistic people. Robert Kennedy Jr. wants to have a database for autistic people and say that they can't accomplish nothing while he's standing next to Elon Musk. It's foolishness. Condoms at no cost in community are from grants. I was an adolescent health educator. Susie Buffett, the daughter of Warren Buffett, it was a $10 million program back in Omaha. I had worked to the point that the corner store that sold condoms, he would let us bring in at no cost condoms just because we right here in the hood. We moving $1,000, $2,000, 2,000 condoms a month just there. We walk in the streets at night, going into the clubs and bars. Are y'all letting out at too? Baby, we out here. I used to sit outside the juvie detention center on parole day with packets. I know y'all about to go home and hunch. Baby, take this with you. Have you come down to Charles Drew? Let's get you tested, my love. That takes leg power. But they want black folks to do all this at no cost when it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, we're going to figure it out. But it doesn't have to be that way. And they're making choices that's going to, one, set us back, but two, is going to only shift our experiences in a way that's palpable. The reason that white queer people and white trans people are quiet about it is that they are still on their parents' insurance. They're being able to get jobs that pay for their insurance. Imagine what it's going to be like for incarcerated people who are living with HIV and AIDS. Incarcerated people should be on fucking PrEP. You can catch HIV from getting a tattoo in the joint. These motherfuckers are slow.
Oh, hey, breaking news, bro. With the whole Anne-Marie situation, I want to start off by saying, first, they always saying blood thicker than water. No, it's not, bro. That was her own little brother. And just to know that every time they get into an argument and he get mad, he go always say, that's why you got HIV. That's why you got AIDS. But you know how that really make a person feel? I don't blame her for assaulting the dude and they end up fighting. That would have made me want to fight too. It's the fact that you my little brother, you my family. And when you get mad at me, these are things you're going to say. That's why I got this and why I got that. But it's another thing too. This is a prime example of why you can't just stick your inside of just anything. Because I'm going to keep it 100 with you. She's beautiful. 1 out of 10, she a 10, you feel me? She make music, got clout, got money. She amazing. She a 10 out of 10. But it's the fact that you would have never thought that she probably had something to begin with. And that's a prime example why they always say, do not sacrifice your life for 7 seconds of pleasure for a lifetime of like taking medicine and all that. But at the end of the day, man, we in 2025. We are not inside the 90s no more. We got a lot of like nice medicine. She can live a normal life for the rest of her life. But it's just very sad that like this information got out there. If it stayed inside the family, it's supposed to stay inside the family, man. That shit crazy. But at the end of the day though, man, watch who you sleeping with. And bro, HIV, yes it is bad, but it's not a death sentence no more, man. So she still got life. Like, hey, I feel like we should give her some like positive comments and all that though, bro. This shit's sad.
What's up, TikTok? If you with one partner, stay with one partner. Don't be out here cheating because the HIV and AIDS rate is too high to be out here saying I'm just finna be cheating and sticking my mandingo into everything and you just getting everybody your Taco Bell. So y'all gotta understand the HIV rates and STD rates is so high, it's spreading. You just can't be out here ready to lay up, ready to, get freaky with everybody, because you'll regret it. You'll catch something that can't be cured. A lot of people I know, they still think they players. That's the problem. They still think they players. They still think they young. They're a little more on the older side, and some of them might not never get married, and that's the problem. People need to get engaged. People need to get married. That way you can only be with one woman. God said, be with one woman. Be fruitful. He ain't say go with different women and be fruitful. And that's the problem. That's why the HIV and AIDS rate and STD rate is so bad. Y'all want multiple partners. Just to say, oh, I slept with such and such last night. It ain't about all that. Health is wealth. Because, your wealth can't buy your health. So remember that now.
Is it better to be with just one person? What do you think?
HIV and AIDS have been around for a long time, but what's happening right now is alarming. For anyone who's single and dating, especially in Atlanta, you need to be cautious. Reports say that in 2025 alone, by August, there have already been nearly 20,000 new HIV cases in Atlanta, and that number is shocking. The reality is that people are connecting with multiple partners, often without thinking about the risk, and in smaller communities, that only makes the spread worse. When you consider that so many cases are happening in just one city, right, within months, it shows how serious the problem has become. What's even more concerning, though, is that many aren't even getting tested or even going to the doctor, which only increases the risk. The way things are actually going, HIV is spreading like wildfire, almost like how other epidemics took hold in the past. If you live in Georgia, especially Atlanta, or you're thinking about moving there, you really need to keep this in mind. Protect yourself, get tested, and be smart about your choices, y'all. The numbers don't lie. This situation is real, and ignoring it could cost your health. So stay out the way and just stay home. Real talk. And if you want to start working from home, comment info so I can put you onto a work from home job, or just click the link in my bio.
Atlanta has 20,000 new cases of HIV in 2025 alone. That is in a span of 8 months. That is crazy work, y'all. If you are out here single and experiencing, or you in a relationship that you really don't trust, you ain't been in it for a very much long time, and you know that man is still out here testing things, you need to go get your behind on PrEP, okay? Do not think that PrEP is only for gay men. It is for women. It is for men. It is for teenagers, even the ones in high school over there humping. Y'all need to find yourself on that PrEP stuff. Someone could have it and may not know. Someone may know they have it and just won't say anything. For the gay boys, they say it takes about 7 consistent days of being on PrEP for it to protect you from HIV. And for the heterosexual people, they said it takes about 21 days of consecutive use to protect you from HIV. So I think PrEP needs to be more talked about, okay, because we actually have a medication that people didn't have back in the day. So we need to take advantage of it because this thing is spreading rapidly.
STD rates in the United States are at an all-time high. These are the top 10 cities with the highest STD and HIV cases reported today. At number 10 is Jacksonville, Florida, with a total population of over 956,000 residents, 22% being African American, 54% being Caucasian, and only 9.9% being Hispanic. At number 9 is New York City, New York, with a total population of over 8.5 million residents, 22.5% being black, 34% being white, and 29% being Hispanic. At number 8 is Atlanta, Georgia, with a total population of over 500,000 residents, 56% of which are African American, 40% being Caucasian, and only 4% Hispanic. They're number 8 when it comes to not only the highest cases of HIV reported today, but also STDs in America. At number 7 is Memphis, Tennessee, with a total population of over 628,000 residents, 79% of which are African American, and only 14% Caucasian, and only 6% Hispanic. At number 6 is Baltimore, Maryland, with a total population of over 576,000 residents, 71% in which are black, 15% are Caucasian, and only 9% Hispanic. At number 5 is Washington, D.C., with a total population of over 678,000 residents, 56% in which are African American, 34% are Caucasian, and 18% are Hispanic. At number 4 is Jackson, Mississippi, with a total population of over 150,000 residents. 94% are African American, 4% are Caucasian, and only 1% Hispanic. At number 3 is Baton Rouge, Louisiana, with a total population of over 222,000 residents, 67% in which are African American, 30% are Caucasian, and only 3% Hispanic. At number 2 is New Orleans, Louisiana, with a total population of over 376,000 residents, 65% in which are African American, 32% are Caucasian, and only 9% Hispanic. At number 1 is Miami, Florida, with a total population of almost 500,000 residents, 18% being African American, 34% being Caucasian, and 37% being Hispanic. They are number 1 when it comes to the highest number of STD and HIV cases reported in 2025.
Whatever you are doing, please wear protection at all times. Can't trust anyone nowadays, so it's up to you to be proactive. What do you think about this? Comment down below, and thank you for your time.